All right, everybody, welcome back to Burn a Flick. Again, we are your hosts, Eugene M., me, Zach, and Jonah. I said your whole name.
Why'd you say my whole name? MMA 2, Eugene M.
Petty officer, second class.
All right.
Submarines qualified.
Depart.
Departing gets out of the room. Sorry, welcome back to Burn a Flick. Again, we're your hosts, and today we're talking about the movie Adaptation.
Yes.
Last week, I couldn't really choose one, at the time, but I chose on the fly, and the first thing that came to mind is Adaptation. It was a movie that made me love movies. I'll tell you that.
I think this movie loves movies.
This movie, it's we're gonna get into it, but this is a meta film.
Super meta.
It's so meta.
Yeah.
And not in the term of how Gen Z says meta things or whatever. It's really by literal standards.
It is aware of what it is.
It is aware of what it is.
That's no cap.
And I chose on the fly because this is directed by Spike Jonze. Spike Jonze, I think he was massively in his prime in the late 90s, early 2000s.
You know what's crazy about Spike Jonze? He hasn't directed that many movies.
No, he hasn't. He's directed 3 or 4.
Yeah, which blows my mind. I don't know why, but I thought he did a lot more, but he actually didn't.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 of which 2 of which are written by Charlie Kaufman.
Yeah,
because he directed Being John Malkovich, and he directed Adaptation.
Mm-hmm. For the longest time, I thought he directed Eternal Sunshine, but that turned out to be somebody else.
It was somebody else, but it was written by Charlie Kaufman as well, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So at this point, and this is maybe almost 8 years ago, I saw this movie. So about 2015, right? 8 years? Yeah, it was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is my spree of watching movies all the time at home and going to the library, just renting them out, whatever. And then I was like, oh my God, I watched Being John Malkovich because I would see it on, people would quote in other movies. So I was like, oh, like Being John Malkovich. Watched it and was the most maybe not the most outlandish movie I've seen. Not outlandish in a bad way, but it was good outlandish in my opinion. I don't really know another word to say it right now.
It's definitely unique,
extremely unique,
and it's like when the movie first came out, everybody thought that Charlie Kaufman was like the new hotness when it came to like screenwriters, and Charlie Kaufman is not. He's a pretty reserved guy.
Yeah.
So
this movie also takes his reservedness to an extreme, of course.
Yes.
Because when we get back to it, these characters are loosely they're symbolic essentially.
I think they're both symbolic and literal.
Exactly. And we'll get to that soon. But yeah, the Spike Jonze, the director of the movie, he's what got me into it. The first movie I saw actually of Spike Jonze actually was Her.
Okay, 2013.
And then I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Her. And then I saw Being John Malkovich. Then I loved his movie.
Yeah.
And then I saw Adaptation, and then is what really got me into. So I guess I like other movies.
Would you say Adaptation is your favorite Spike Jonze movie?
Yeah, I'd say so. I would 100% say so. If you're listening.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know. So Murph and I, we've seen it. You haven't seen Adaptation. This is your first time watching it.
This is my first time. It's actually my second time because I watched it the other day and then I watched it again last night.
Oh, really?
It's really good. I like it.
Watching it twice in a week is usually what we like to do sometimes. So I'll watch it and then I'll be like, all right, I'm going to rewatch it to get an even. Because it's like when you say a name 3 times in one sentence, you'll never forget the name. Same thing for movies. Watch it 3 times.
Or you do the thing where you repeat it so often that it loses meaning to you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of like me and Lord of the Rings. Like it just loses meaning. I watch it because it's part of my soul now. So I just watch it to recharge the batteries of my soul. But I don't know if I'm actually registering anything I'm watching. I do love it.
It's like you keep it plugged in all the time. So like your laptop plugged in all the time.
I watch it every year. Yeah.
Yeah. Without your laptop being plugged in, it just drains.
Yeah. No, I'd be watching it and like I'd look away and then I would look away and I would anticipate the next line coming through the movie, even though I'm not paying attention. It's like that subconscious for me.
Yeah.
But what actually I was gonna ask you, have you seen any other Spike Jonze movie?
Yeah, I've seen Being
John Malkovich.
Yeah, Being John Malkovich.
Yeah.
I've seen her, and that's I think the extent. Those are the only 2 movies other than now Adaptation.
These 3 movies are, I think it's all he really needed to give himself a name. Like Spike Jonze, there are more that I'm not like thinking of right now, but these 3 are like, it's like his trilogy in a way. His off, like non-connected trilogy. Well, actually 2 of which are
I actually think that Being John Malkovich is less related to Adaptation than Adaptation is to her. I feel like Adaptation and her they have more in common, like thematically.
Oh, I mean the alone, somber feeling.
Yeah, but like her, it kind of explores the whole idea of love and all that stuff, and it's like I feel like it's the next evolution of what Charlie Kaufman was exploring in Adaptation, because in Adaptation, basically the big lesson is coming to accept and love yourself, and not really like
wanting other people to love you.
Yeah, what Donald says at the end. I feel like that's the and Adaptation has this really cool lesson, and it's wrapped up in this ball of meta. And you just have to dig through the meta, and it eventually reveals itself to you.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So let's see how this movie is about a movie writer named Charlie Kaufman.
Yes.
Now, this Charlie Kaufman is technically playing himself, but not really, right? He's not playing himself in the movie. This is starring Nicolas Cage, by the way.
Yeah.
This is starring Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage. I'll get to, actually. We're gonna get to this.
Starring Nicolas Cage and Nicolas Cage.
There's so many layers of that's going on here for an hour and 50-minute movie. So, I want to start off with this movie or Adaptation was technically, if you watch, it was written by both Charlie and Donald Kaufman.
Yes, which is insane.
Yeah, so Charlie Kaufman actually gave credits to his other twin brother, by the way, who does not exist. You look at this movie like, does Donald Kaufman exist? No, he doesn't.
I think he's the only imaginary person
to get credited with film writing.
To win, or did he win?
No,
he won a Best Adapted Screenplay, didn't he?
Yes, I think, or they got both nominated.
I really think he won.
I looked up stuff yesterday.
Okay,
and you might be right. Actually, you probably are right.
Nominated, won. He recognized by the Oscars. I think he's the only fake screenwriter ever recognized by the Oscars.
Do you think that maybe the Academy is just so old people? They're like, they must be good. It was great. Both of them. Both these Nicolas guys. I didn't know Nicolas Cage had a twin brother.
His name was on the credits.
Yeah. By the credits, I want to talk about the intro credits. I don't think I noticed the first time I watched it, but this is like the 3rd time I'm watching it, and I think I picked it up this time. In the intro credits, when it has like director of photography or like screen supervisor, like those people, and like when the camera is going through the set of John Malkovich and it's showing it's those people.
Yeah.
Like it's and then it goes to Charlie Kaufman and it's Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. Can you get off the set? You're in our line of sight. Oh, okay. All right. We'll start now. So the movie is about Charlie Kaufman, and he's a writer. He's the writer of Being John Malkovich.
Yes.
Again, the whole meta part makes this very difficult to explain in a way, but he is a person who is very reserved to talk about and has very, very like soul-crushingly low self-esteem.
Yes.
And it is so soul-crushing in a way because it affects his relationship with many people. It affects his relationship with his brother, the woman he loves,
yeah,
and himself.
Yeah, right? and even just random people that he meets.
And random people he meets.
Yeah.
And ultimately, of course, his own career. This isn't like, career-ending type movie, right? This is more of a very, in a way, it's very uplifting. Oh,
it is.
this
I
movie
do feel
made
that way.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I watched it, I felt this way. When I
Yeah.
first watched it, I felt the way he felt. Like, in not maybe not in that extreme sense, but
No, because it's so good at putting you in his shoes, and his shoes, they're very relatable shoes.
Mhm.
I feel like everybody at some point in their lives had struggled with self doubt, have struggled with like being concerned with what other people are thinking of them, other people's opinions of, like, these are very real concerns
Mhm.
that normal everyday people struggle with. Obviously, in this movie, Charlie Kaufman like amplifies it to a crazy degree. But I don't think it's unbelievable. I
No.
think it's very believable, and they pull off his neuroticness
yes.
very, very well.
So many
Yeah.
nesses.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So yeah, he's a screenwriter.
He's a screenwriter, very low self-esteem.
Yeah.
And he is given the job to because of his success with Being John Malkovich.
Mhm.
He was given the job to write a movie for a book called The Orchid Thief.
Yes.
An adaptation.
An adaptation, right? An adaptation of The Orchid Thief,
Yeah.
which again which is a real book, written by a real New York Times or a New Yorker columnist writer, or
Susan Orlean.
Susan Orlean.
Yeah.
Real people, by the way. Everything is based on an actual person except for one person.
And that'd be Donald.
That would be Donald. But in a way, it's
But
a real person.
I think Donald is side of Charlie Kaufman. I feel like you know how like you have your good angel and your devil
Yeah.
on your shoulder? I feel like the darkness
God.
that Charlie Kaufman's character is in this movie is his devil on the shoulder, just breeding doubt and like insecurity, talking to him like, you fucking suck, you're garbage, like you're fat, you're ugly, all that stuff. And then you have Donald on the other side, hey man,
Yeah,
how's it going?
A little bit less, like, more carefree. Like, hey man,
Yeah,
get out of your rut and make a screenplay.
he's a little dopey, but he's not a dope.
No,
He's
not.
a good dude.
He's just hey,
Yeah.
I love life, guy. I can't really compare it to a guy on our boat. The people who are dopey are really dopey, actually.
He has a golden retriever attitude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're smart, but they're just dopey.
Yeah.
It's good because I have a golden retriever. So I just thought about something, by the way, that was
Yes.
a part of the movie. I don't want to get into right now,
Okay, sure.
but
yeah.
it when you talked about that, it blew my mind just thinking about it.
Yeah.
By the way, but so yeah, like Donald, right, is his brother. He's a very upbeat twin brother of Charlie,
Mm.
and he's the guy you're like, wow, I like this dude a lot.
Mhm.
And why can't Charlie be more like this guy? But of course, you need the juxtaposed.
and Charlie's sometimes a little mean to Donald.
Yeah,
He kind of like puts him down and stuff.
it's because Donald's the only person he can talk to, really,
That is true. Yeah.
and he's the only person who can get his he actually speak normally and probably get his frustrations out in a way.
Mm.
'Cause he can't get frustrations on people because he can't talk to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the only one he can talk to is himself, and then I think well, I don't know if you wanted to talk about this or later, but I feel like Donald may or may not exist, and that's just
That's
There's-
what I was going for.
okay.
That's what I was gonna wait to say, but yeah, we can talk about it right now. 'Cause
Let's
there's okay.
we can talk about it. Yeah.
All right, so the point is, Charlie is a screenwriter, and then Donald is his, unsuccessful brother who just doesn't do anything and lives off of him.
Mhm.
But he lives with him, and then till eventually he comes to the idea that he wants to be a screenwriter too, because he's like, hey, Charles, I got an idea to get myself out of your home.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a screenwriter.
Yeah.
And then Charlie's like, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Like this your ideas, you'll get eaten alive. They're not going to work.
Mhm.
And then there comes later on in the movie where he's like, I think I found out that I'm a thriller writer, and
Yeah.
I was thinking about utilizing the multiple personality disorder type thing.
Yeah.
And then to which Charlie immediately says it's overused, overplayed, never. And that's when this is what I was going to say. Like, and then he actually makes a screenplay with a guy with multiple personalities, about 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
The 3.
The 3.
And then just now, I'm sort of I just thought about that. We were talking about like,
Yeah.
what if that's like,
That's this movie.
That's this movie.
The 3 is this. Sorry. The 3 is this movie.
Except there's the 2.
Except there's 4 actually. There's 4.
There are 4.
Because when you think about it, Donald and Charlie, they're like yin and yang. And you got Susan Orlean and fucking LaRoche.
Yeah.
LaRoche.
Also yin and yang. Because think about it. Susan, she's successful, but she's kind of sad, right?
Mm.
And then the drugged out native guy was like, I see sadness in your eyes. And also she's not entirely satisfied with her marriage. And she doesn't have passion in her. She says it in the movie. She doesn't have passion. So Susan is kind of like Charlie. And then here you have LaRoche come by, and he's definitely more of a free-spirited type. Like, don't give a fuck what people think about me. I'm doing my thing. I know what I am in my life. That sort of thing. Kind of like Donald.
Oh yeah.
So like, I feel like it's the 4.
I can definitely agree with
Yeah.
that. I can run with that idea.
Maybe it is a 3 in that
Yeah.
Charlie and Donald might be the same guy.
Oh.
And maybe the idea of, as a matter of fact, there's so many symbolic like gestures.
You know what the thing is? Like, Charlie makes fun of Donald's script idea because he's like, well, it doesn't make any sense because how can he be in a jail and also be at the police station at the same time?
Yeah.
And then like here we are coming out with these theories and like, how is he gonna be in Florida and in Hollywood at the same time and then fly to New York? But he's also Susan Orlean is in her office already, and like that doesn't make sense. So like really our theories don't make sense either.
Fight Club did a good job with that. Okay, remember.
Or you could just be like Donald and be like camera tricks, just trick photography.
Yeah, he says so slowly like trick photography.
Oh yeah, that's it.
So Charlie, amongst like all his personal issues, this movie isn't about like, which we'll get into, isn't about real life. Well, it is real life issues, but it isn't about like the world affecting him, as he like one brings up later on in the movie when he sees a certain screenwriter teacher.
Yes, McKee,
which from when I first watched the movie, I could have sworn he was in the movie more, but he's only in that one scene.
He's actually no, he's in. They meet up. They go to the bar.
Well, I consider the same scene.
Oh yeah, same like similar sequence. Okay, yeah, I get it.
Oh my god. It's hard to explain this in different detail.
The movie is structured in a kind of complex way because there's a little bit of jumping back and forth.
Yeah,
they jump back and forth in time and they jump back and forth in location. Mm-hmm. So actually, my first watch, I was a little confused. It was a little hard for me to pick up like who was when, who was where, that sort of thing.
Because it kept going 3 years and 3 years later.
Because the present. The quote unquote present is like Charlie struggling with this script and working through writer's block basically, but also there are flashbacks to Susan Orlean when she was interviewing LaRoche to write the book, which took place in the past, obviously, because by the time they're making the movie, the book is already written, book has been optioned, that sort of thing. It wasn't until the second time I watched it that I was able to structurally place the movie together in my brain.
Yeah,
better.
This time it was easy for me because I've seen it and I can understand the concept of it going back and forth because he's writing an adaptation of a book and then she's also in this time frame interviewing to write her book.
Yeah.
So I like how he talks about there's no structure to this book. And then
you can't make a movie out of this.
Here we are, right? And then Donald's like, "No, you totally can.
Yeah,
look at this, and then he comes out with these ideas that he can just read just from the way it was structured.
Yeah,
you can find out more about the movie, about the book, than we'll get later on. the this movie's so structured in a way because think about when he met McKee.
Uh-huh.
McKee says like it doesn't matter how you write your book as long as the third act makes the movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how bad it is. Like the third act, you better wow them. And God help you if you write a Deus Ex Machina. And guess what? All that ends to being a
That in the beginning of the movie, when Nick Cage, or sorry, Charlie Kaufman is meeting with Tilda Swinton, the film producer, and Tilda Swinton's asking like, "What do you want like the movie to be like?" And he's like, "Well, I don't want to." Basically, he says he doesn't want to make a Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
He wants to make a movie where nothing happens, where nobody learns a lesson. There are no drugs, sex, guns, or car chases. And at the third act of the movie,
That
you
was all
have
that.
guns, sex,
drugs,
car chases.
Oh my God! Even then, that is something that like I didn't catch. I didn't catch on. I saw, but I didn't really
Yeah.
put it into that. I think it's like it's really in a way it's satirizing its beginning. Its ending is a satire. of its
Totally,
beginning.
totally.
It's total
Yeah.
satire of its beginning.
So you said you watched it twice.
Yeah.
So like in this, we had similar experiences where like our first time we picked up on this and picked up on that, and our second time we picked up on this. Like, what was it like for you?
So the first watch through was definitely, it was confusing to getting through it, but by the very end, I'm like, okay, like I'm piecing it together. And then the second watch through was like, okay, makes like a lot of like everything like started making more sense. Like when he was running around his room trying to scramble around how the movie was gonna start,
Yeah,
and like rewatching it. the
That's how it
movie-
starts.
It is actually how it starts.
Yes.
And when I first watched it, I'm like, what the hell are these dinosaurs doing? Like, why am I watching a fox decompose on the screen right now?
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
such a, oh my God, it's so true.
yeah.
Yeah,
I like-
everything throughout the movie, like as he's describing how to make this movie, is how this movie is made,
Yes.
and it's so nice.
Can we? God, can we talk about? Oh, you want to say something?
I
before
wanted
yeah.
to just I loved how it starts with the creation of like the universe or
Mhm.
whatever and evolution, and then it goes to monkeys and like, okay, now we're gonna go to humans, and then it goes to Charlie Kaufman.
Yeah.
And like he just looks
He's
so sad. Like he's just like
Yeah.
hunched over.
yeah.
And like he has this look on his face like he just is done with life.
Terror.
Mm-hmm.
He's terrorized by everything.
Yeah, he just looks so pathetic
Yes.
with his Nick Cage, dude. Oh my
He does so
god.
Yeah.
good. This is my
Knocked
be-
that
I
out of
think
the
it's-
park.
I think it's his best movie. Personally,
I
I-
I agree.
I
It's
think
his
it-
best movie, but I don't know. It's not the most Nick Cage performance.
oh yeah, 100%. It's
Yeah.
this is a movie where he actually like he pulls
Yeah.
he pulls like his inner Coppola.
I am just as likely to call his character Charlie Kaufman as I am likely to call his character Nick Cage. In other Nick Cage movies, I just call him Nick Cage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
it's Nick
I just
Cage.
forget the guy's name in his
Yeah.
movies.
Mhm.
He's just Nick Cage. But in this movie, he's Charlie Kaufman.
Yeah.
And if he wants to be, I guess I could call him Nick Cage too. But I think I'm more likely to call him Charlie Kaufman in this movie.
I think in Raising Arizona, he was also.
You're right.
yeah.
I think
you're
Raising
right.
Arizona is
Yep.
the same concept there.
You're right.
But
forgot
I
about that
I
movie.
still believe this is his the way he acts in this movie, and he's able to play another person, not himself,
so good.
but another so well.
So he plays two
Two.
people. Two.
Two
Double
different
duty.
I always think about how like they do that. They used to do that, without like obviously the camera tricks, cheap camera,
Yeah.
special
Trick photography.
trick photography.
Oh my gosh.
It keeps coming in. Just
Oh
so
man.
meta-ness is increasing over time.
Oh man.
And apparently his older brother sat in for it.
Oh really?
Yeah, to act while he was acting. Because obviously what they do is they have somebody there rehearsing. Sorry, rehearsing
Like a body.
Yeah, body
Yeah,
rehearsing
yeah.
there so they can actually get the real emotion because actors can't really act without another person emotionally.
Yeah.
Oh,
there.
they did that on the set of Moon Knight.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
They
yeah.
brought in Oscar Isaac's brother to be his
Okay, I didn't
double.
know it was his brother. I knew it was a different guy, but okay, that's
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah. So, damn, what was I getting at with this?
Is it crazy that Moon Knight's not canon?
It is.
I heard it's not canon.
I don't. Is it canon? Because I'm pretty sure they're
I
not.
heard Disney was like, we made this Moon Knight series, but actually it has nothing to do with. Didn't they say that? I thought they said that.
Oh, I can't remember. I like the show, but
Yeah.
I mean, it never really.
It petered out for me. I
Yeah.
feel like the beginning of Moon Knight
Was
Chef's Kiss.
yeah.
And then I don't know. It kind of I just kept watching, but whatever.
I don't know. I just don't know. There wasn't much Moon Knight as there was more of what's his name?
Manchu?
I don't even know his
Well,
Oscar Isaacs.
Well, Oscar Isaac's his character's name.
I don't remember his name. The British guy who's
Or
who's also not actually a British guy.
Who's
Yeah.
also
Who's American.
3 people.
It wasn't the greatest adaptation.
I'm not saying I liked it though. I enjoyed watching it. It just I wish there was more Moon Knight. There's very little. There's only 3 or 4 times that he actually shows.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about the intro monologue, where
The
it's
intro
just him
monologue.
beating the fuck out of himself
yeah.
with his words.
Yep.
And I want people to hear it. I want to like get the audio up.
Oh, dude. We should have set it. You should have told me beforehand. We could have set it up. We could have played it into the machine. But
We can do that now.
oh,
We can just keep talking about other things while I connect this.
yeah,
So
Good.
let's bring something up while I
Uh-huh.
connect this.
yeah.
So nobody has to like watch me connect the fuck with my phone. Well, I mean this intro. Well, maybe we can talk about it later. We can bring
Yeah.
it up later. But this intro is pretty much him saying like you're fat, you're a loser, you're fat and bald, and he's just saying like how life is just nothing worth living. Like if you are depressed, you probably shouldn't watch this movie.
No, I think
No, actually,
you
you should.
should, but
You
you got to
should.
finish it though. You can't just stop
Yeah.
at the part where he says you're garbage and then just stop watching.
Yeah,
You're
don't-
like, I am garbage. Turn off the TV, kill yourself.
That's how you get taken down. Take down.
No, you got to
algorithm.
finish the movie. Yeah.
This movie is actually, if you watch it full through, it actually picks your spirits up. Another reason why when I watched this movie, I was in a weird state of mind where
Yeah.
after I watched it, I'm like, I felt great after watching it.
It is really uplifting,
But this-
strangely uplifting.
But this intro, it's actually, maybe it does, as a matter of fact, it
Yeah.
really juxtaposes from the beginning to end.
Mm.
It totally does. You see like how he's bringing himself down, and at the end, he brings himself up.
And like he has an ending monologue too.
Exactly.
And he's more hopeful. He's more positive, and he's more accepting of like who he is. And like at one point the doubt comes in a little bit. He's like, "Oh, Aunt McKee said not to do voiceover." And then he's like, "It
hell?
doesn't matter what he says. It feels right." So like the doubt comes in, but then he's able to be like, "Oh, actually it doesn't fucking matter. I'm
Mhm.
going to do what I'm going to do." So like he gains a level of self-confidence that he didn't have in the beginning of the movie. I think it's really nice to watch that sort of coming full circle thing.
Do you? I'm sure you all understand, or you understand, but do viewers like really understand what kind of genius it takes to write something like this? Like the intricacies, like being able to just speak about it from something we saw that was already put on camera. Imagine having to write it from scratch, from beginning to end. It's so intricate.
I think we see the process in this movie.
You do, but
Yeah.
like, you know how hard it is to just talk about it from beginning to end. Like we'd have to restructure
Yes.
our
Yeah.
entire way of
No,
doing
the
it.
movie is there is a level of complexity to the movie that blows my mind.
It does.
Yeah. And the way that all the pieces kind of fit together, Charlie Kaufman's a genius. Like no one's disputing that.
Or let's think about the idea that genre blending
Mm.
is something that nobody really does often, right?
Yeah.
And even McKee said, and Donald said, genre blending, genre mixing can create something. Not many people do it, but it can create amazing things.
Yeah.
And guess what? We've seen in the past year when we talk about all the times. Again, my favorite movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
It's a genre blender or
It is.
mixer, and
There's
then
so much going on.
so much going on, and then they talk about genre blending. It's not a very safe thing to do.
Mhm.
They say you usually want to stick with what you know, right? And in this case, of course,
Mhm.
Charlie Kaufman's more a realist, or or he's a surrealist, I guess you'd say, in writing.
Yeah.
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 It's funny. I watched for the second time last night with Ciara.
Yeah.
She throughout the movie she was like, "Oh, I think I would go see this movie about flowers, about like stealing flowers," and I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Yeah, I think that'd be actually pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I feel
you-
like if this movie was about that, this movie would be pretty good." And well, she didn't.
Sick,
She didn't. She didn't see the ending.
Oh, okay.
I think if she would have saw the ending, she would have realized this movie is literally about that. It is about the book, but yeah, it's
I when I was listening to how did this movie get made?
Yeah.
They were talking about how it's like, oh yeah, I'm a huge Marvel guy, not a DC dude, but my wife is. He said my wife has watched these movies, and she's seen Ant-Man and Wonder Woman, the first one, or something like all these movies. It's like, so I know, and she fell asleep halfway through the first Avengers, so I know where she stands. It's saying anything my like for Hannah, she'll watch a movie with me if she has nothing else to do, but she will not watch movies with me. Except it really to go this far into detail on things, it really have to like really see movies a lot.
It's like there's a different kind of movie watching
Yeah.
that is required.
Like I've learned to finally be able to turn my brain off and watch a movie,
Yeah.
and then I could turn it on. And
But here's the thing. Even if you turn your brain off, you're still getting more stuff from the screen than someone who's not into movies. Someone who's not into movies, who looks at the screen while a movie's going on, the movie is not doing the same thing to their brain as it's doing to your brain. Even if you try to turn your brain off, let's be honest, there's part of your brain that you can't turn off. Like, you are going to pick up on things. You are going to notice some things. You are going to think that, oh, that was cool, or oh, that was kind of dumb, or oh, that makes a lot of sense, or that doesn't make fucking any sense. Like, you're able to pick up on that. And there's like a language of movies that people who are really into movies become familiar with, and it's not a language that all viewers have. So like when when any of us watch a movie like Adaptation, you can get into the moviness of it, and like you can appreciate the moviness of it. When somebody else watches Adaptation, it just doesn't do the same thing for them.
that's true.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because their approach to movies is different, or I don't know if it's because their brains are just wired different. I don't know what it is, because I'd like to think that movies are universal. Like, but every now and then you run into someone who doesn't feel or understand movies in the same way that you do, and it makes you wonder a bit. But yeah, no, I can relate to sitting down watching a movie with somebody, and then that person just completely tuning out or not being into it, and then you notice it. It's hard to not notice.
It's true.
Yeah.
That is facts, if you will. I agree.
Yeah. How did we get here?
How did we get there? Maybe we should really explain more characters.
Character. Okay.
There's so many characters and so many
Yeah.
what do you call I guess characters, personalities,
Okay.
right, in this movie. We've already talked about Donald. We talked about Charlie. They're the same person and they're not the same person.
Mhm.
And then you have Charlie's love interest, who
Amelia.
Amelia.
The British girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
who clearly for a person who doesn't have those feelings that Charlie does, it's very clear to see that she likes him and
Yeah.
really really cares for him.
Mhm.
But because of Charlie's crippling self doubt,
Yes.
he doesn't go through with something
Yeah,
he
he's-
actually sees himself. I think he is aware too that she likes
He's
him.
definitely aware, and he's just paralyzed by
the darker side of that Charlie
yeah,
side
he's
of himself.
paralyzed by that, and
Like-
he's just not able to act on these on what he wants to act on for that and he knows it too, and somehow knowing it kind of makes it worse because he's like, I should have kissed her, like why didn't you kiss her, or like why didn't you go in, or why didn't you say that. Like he knows that he's failing a certain way, but also the fact that he's aware of it feeds back into his self-loathing, which is crazy because like self-awareness and being self-aware of your self-awareness like is super indulgent, but it's also super common because everybody does it.
Oh yeah.
Everybody does it. It's really cool to just see it on the screen. I think another movie that does something similar is Sideways, when he also kind of, there's that one scene where he goes to the bathroom and he like slaps himself. He's like, "You're a piece of shit. You suck." And then because like he wasn't able to kiss his love interest. Anyway, but yeah, he Amelia and oh, we're just talking about characters, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Sideways was also Charlie Kaufman, wasn't it?
No, I don't think it
Wasn't it?
was. No. It
Yeah,
does seem
seems
Charlie.
so Charlie-esque.
It does seem Charlie
esque, right?
Kaufman-esque.
Yeah, Kaufman-esque.
Mm.
Kaufman-esque. All right. Anyway, so yeah, we talk about Amelia. Not big parts. I want to really talk about Donald's girlfriend, Maggie Gyllenhaal's like second.
Maggie
feature film.
Gyllenhaal randomly appears.
This is right after Donnie Darko. Well, Donnie Darko came out in 2000,
Yeah.
and this came out 2002.
Rachel.
Rachel. They're coming for you. Yeah, I know. Boom. That's the biggest. That was actually kind of funny, that scene. Yeah, I know they're coming for me. Don't worry about it. Boom. Because she knows who Batman is. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, we have Rachel, Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Not really a character. Is a character.
She's there.
So not a personality.
There's Tilda Swinton, the movie producer that that Charlie Kaufman has a couple fantasies about. He has fantasies about a lot of people. He had a fantasy about that waitress.
Yes.
What's her name?
Oh my God.
Judy Greer.
Judy Greer.
Greer.
Who's recently in Halloween movies. The new Halloween movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Oh yeah,
but...
she was the mother in Halloween 1 and 2.
Okay.
Part 1 and 2.
I like Judy Greer. She plays a lot of sidekick, like chick sidekicks, I feel like.
Yeah. I've seen her a lot. I've seen her in a lot of movies. That's why she would like
Arrested Development.
Yeah. 21 years ago this movie was like when she was way younger.
She's really pretty
in
this movie. Like she is the waitress that would make my heart flutter.
She's probably like 21 years old, 22.
Something like that. Yeah. She's in this movie. Funny thing about her character. So, this was off the Unspooled podcast. Apparently Susan Orlean had a cameo in this movie. And I don't know if you guys ever seen a picture of Susan Orlean. She is a flaming redhead.
Yeah, I've seen a picture of her.
Like Judy Greer. And she's like a normal looking person. She's not like outrageously like Hollywood attractive, but she is, I'd say, conventionally attractive. If you look at younger pictures of her, she kind of has like this British attractiveness going on for her. But she was supposed to be the waitress. Something happened and that got cut, and Judy Greer became the waitress. And it's funny because Judy Greer is also a redhead in this movie.
Yeah.
So like, and I think it's funny that Charlie Kaufman's character could not talk to Susan Orlean in this movie. He could not approach her. Met her in the elevator, didn't say a word. Right?
he makes a he says and yeah.
and then Susan Orlean kind of notices him, but she doesn't even look. She doesn't even turn around. Yeah, he does that.
Yeah, he's
I it's
and then
so
just
good.
he goes like regresses. Like,
Yeah.
that can you imagine
Yeah.
that type of crippling fear of that anxiety, crippling anxiety can keep you from just uttering a single syllable, let alone a whole word.
Yeah. So
I feel okay.
what I
I have
wanted
been
to
that way before, by the way.
yeah.
Sorry, but anyway.
What I wanted to say with that is he can't talk to Susan Orlean at all because of whatever. And in the same way, he can't talk to the waitress that looks like Susan Orlean in real life in the movie as well. I thought that was like a funny thing. I don't know. They're probably not connected, but it's just another little line that I drew for myself.
The really upsetting part is the time where he found
Yeah.
like he got the courage in him to say something, to speak.
Yeah.
He overdid it and he scared her.
Yeah. And then she goes to talk to the other waitress,
can
and
you
then he
show-
knows that they're talking about him, and he just fucking hates himself silently.
People
Oh,
who feel
man.
this way should watch this movie. It'll make
Yeah.
them feel better.
Yeah.
Well, other characters.
one-
Okay.
Yeah.
Susan Orlean is played by
Meryl Streep.
Meryl
Meryl
Streep.
Streep.
I think Meryl Streep's beautiful.
She is. Yeah.
I
She
think,
has a classic beauty to her.
yeah.
Because she has a classic Hollywood look. I think she has a very like sharp nose, and like she has very elegant crow's feet when she smiles in
Mhm.
her in her like corners of her eyes.
She has the come here, I'm better than you, but I don't think that I am. Look,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Or, like,
And she kind of plays that a little bit in this with the New Yorker journalist, like
Yeah.
New Yorker, very prestigious fucking
Mhm.
like magazine, whatever.
but again,
and-
she is like probably one of the best actresses that still still out there.
yeah, no, she's legendary. She's absolutely legendary.
I love how she's like I've already known it's like Leonardo DiCaprio. I know I'm in a status, so I'm just gonna do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Like she reached that in the 90s,
Yeah.
and then she started doing whatever movies.
You know what's crazy? I watched a video of Susan Orlean giving a talk, and Meryl Streep talks like Susan Orlean in this movie. Like it's actually really interesting how. I mean, it's not interesting because I guess actors are supposed to do their research.
Mhm.
I'm sure there was they got together and they probably had a lunch or something and said, "Hey, I'm playing you and I'm just trying to learn my character." Blah blah blah. I'm sure there's something like that happened, but I just thought it was cool that they sound similar.
Mhm.
And by the way, this YouTube it's fucking like 12 years old. It's an old ass YouTube video. It's like in like 180p.
Oh.
It's super super grainy. But anyway, she's talking about adaptation actually. They mentioned this in the Unspooled podcast. This YouTube video, Susan Orlean is talking about the first time she met Charlie Kaufman. She went to the set of Adaptation. Nicolas Cage is there. He's doing his acting thing. He's acting, cameras rolling, whatever. And Susan Orlean's walked in, and she's like watching. And then she notices this like really small dude like in the corner up against the wall, and like she's like, "Oh, who's that? That must be just a regular stagehand or something." Like he's like a small guy, and he's like very demure, like unassuming, and she just kind of ignores him. And then all of a sudden, Nicolas Cage stops acting, and he's like, "Hey, the real Susan and the real Charlie are here." And then she looks at the guy, and it's that guy, that small, curly-haired, like, guy. And then she says, "Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed." And then Charlie Kaufman says, "Not as much as me." And then Charlie Kaufman walks out the studio. And then she said, "And I didn't see him for another year."
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's this old ass. You could search it on YouTube. It exists. It's like 14 years old or something like that.
Jeez, that must have been torture to just watch Nicolas Cage run around the stage and act like this caricature of himself.
Yeah, yeah.
I would also personally, even if I was like a super confident person, I feel like I'd feel weird about that.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like I'd feel weird about that. Yeah. The
Anyway, characters. LaRoche.
LaRoche,
Chris Cooper.
Chris Cooper.
Yeah.
We talked about the movie American Beauty before, right? Or
I've
I think
actually never seen American
Okay, so I watched American Beauty. Chris Cooper he won an Oscar for American Beauty for that one.
Yeah.
And I used to look at him in other movies and think, oh, this is just some dude who's just like not contemporary. I guess he could be contemporary actor.
I always felt that he plays side characters.
Yes.
I got that feeling.
And I got that feeling too, but
He kind of is a side character in this.
He
little bit,
is.
but I mean, he has a major role. But yeah.
he is. Yeah, it is a major role from an important character of an actual book
Mhm.
that was obviously adapted into a different person, right? Of course.
Yeah.
But like I love this guy so much in this because
Yeah.
he's just a kind person.
Mm-hmm.
He comes off in the beginning as like this dickhead, this jerk who he's a flower poacher essentially.
Yeah.
But he comes off as a guy who doesn't have a respect for them. He's just trying to get them. But
Yeah.
eventually, over time, you realize that he does have respect for them. He does love them.
I think there definitely is an integrity to his character. I agree. This is my third time watching this movie, and I think I realized he's kind of a scumbag. This guy, he's kind of a scumbag. He has a heart of gold. I agree. He's very passionate about what he does, and he's kind of a scumbag.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is that, like, he gets Susan Orlean hooked on drugs and ruins her life.
Oh.
He literally puts her on his porn site.
That too.
Yeah,
that too. Yeah, he runs his porn site. Yeah, it's really funny because like he had this whole monologue about like the romanticism of insects pollinating flowers, and how like and he related it to like, oh, if you find your flower, like you just need to go for it. And it's a very poetic way of putting it. And then this guy's like running a porn site now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, he talks on the like they were talking on the phone for this is in person they were talking about that. The whole because he talked about Charles Darwin one hypothesized that there was this orchid that was a very long nectarine or nectar, what the thing was called.
Yeah. The thing that they're supposed to pollinate or whatever. Yeah.
And he hypothesized that there was a moth that was built and it was evolved for it.
Yeah.
And people believed that. Then they thought he was a joke, that it was a hack, and then so eventually he found it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went into the whole thing about there's these bugs, these animals that pollinate their plants. They do their little dance, and they're meant for each other, but without realizing their entire lives that doing something so small can create something so big.
Yeah.
Like without bugs pollinating and essentially fucking each other is what he says essentially.
Yeah.
That we wouldn't have this planet we live on.
Yeah. It literally moves the ecosystem when the bugs do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And overall, like so you and I can be here healthy in the way whatever. He puts that in perspective in a very very well intricately put.
Yeah.
Right?
He's not dumb. He has very deep insights.
He's the smartest person he knows.
He's the smartest person. That's true. And I really like the fact that like he kind of broke down Susan Orlean's defenses a bit, because in the beginning she had this strict like he's the subject, I'm the observer. In the beginning when she's riding with him in his truck and she's interviewing him, and she's writing in her notebook like delusions of grandeur.
Funny
and,
smell, man.
And yeah, that sort of thing. And she's basically like kind of bringing him down as she observes him. And there's that whole dinner scene, scene where she's with her fancy friends,
and they're all just talking
making
crap
fun of him, and she's also making fun. But then
when she gets up and leaves, I have to do the bathroom, rather than waiting out that whole way of talking like bad about him.
Yeah,
she leaves, so she doesn't want to be part of it.
And she goes to the bathroom, and not only does she doesn't want to be a part of it anymore, she feels bad that she made fun, because she just looks sad in the bathroom. She just looks sad. So
I think it's also it's there because
yeah,
they're making fun of this guy who knows what he wants.
Yeah.
but she doesn't know what she wants.
Yeah.
Maybe she like sees, that he was a genuine person,
Mm-hmm.
but she wasn't genuine.
And they're making fun of him because they think they're better than him because they're cynical,
Yeah.
right? They think their cynicism makes them higher than him somehow. But
Let's make this a point that
Yeah.
LaRoche, he has no front teeth. He's missing all his front teeth.
yes.
Which adds to the look of this is some hick from Florida. He
Yeah.
has no teeth. He's dirty all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
he's running through the muds. He's what's that Duck Dynasty look type thing, without the beard.
Yeah.
Whatever. And obviously he's an easy target
Yes.
for people like her and her friends to attack.
Yeah.
But of course she
Falls in love.
She falls in love with him.
Yeah.
No,
It's-
she's
it's his
married
passion.
to, by the way, to another man who she doesn't love.
Yeah.
There's a part, right? I know you wanted to say something before. I don't want you to
I
lose it.
forgot.
Sorry.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
There's a part. I'm sorry again about that.
Yeah.
There's a part about that.
You should be sorry.
I should be sorry.